Wah. Copy. Maybe I'll make another window. And it doesn't share. That's what I want. Following. Right. Hello, hello, welcome. We've done this before on the stream, but I think the CodePen 2.0 editor is a little bit more ready for it, and I never really finished the demo that I wanted to build about it. So this is the idea, though. It's basically this line, which is wrong. I think the word assert has become with, but we'll fix that when we do what we're going to do. So the thing that I want to do is, I'll just name it right away. Basic. That was funny. The focus got pulled away to that file because it took a second to load, which I don't love. Basic demo for CSS module scripts in web components, I guess. All right, say hi if you're just popping in. See if it all works and sounds okay. There's my face is covering the preview. I guess that's okay. I never know where to put my stupid face. Maybe there's a world where I make it like a big, tall vertical thing instead of having it overlap anything and then just make the browser smaller. I don't know. What I want to start with is like the reason why I care is that there's like this file structure for web projects that just a small part of the overall structure that I think is cool. Like if we had a components folder, inside the components folder, we had other components. So like a card and so like a button, right? That makes sense. I kind of like that as a structure. It's like the beginning of our design system, if you will. And inside of a card, there'd be like a card.js. Now, obviously there's a million ways to make a project like this. JS probably freaks some people out immediately. They're like, why isn't it just a HTML file or something? You know, because if you're using 11D or some project like that, it could be we're working in just native web components here. No build process. I think that's important to underscore here. Like we're going to attempt to use no build process at all other than like the basic stuff that CodePen automatically does. So we're going to make another new file called card.css. This is like the whole point of this short stream. Hi, Dave, is this structure. New file, button.js and button.css. Oh yeah, please do, Dave. Actually, I was going to show you something, but it was not. It was Fluent, which I think you care about professionally, at least somehow. But it was like Fluent ships a thing specifically for React. And it was kind of busted in a way. And I was like, I wonder if Dave cares about this or if that's kind of like old news for that world. Anyway, so that's the structure that I care about right now, a zero build process web components where the JavaScript and the CSS are co-located. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this. I just am a little bit. That's how I want to roll here. And then our two components are like, there's like a file that just pulls them both in so that they're both available to me in the HTML. So I would write import. I think as soon as I've written the word import, what is it going to do? Is it going to fail it's going to die. Yeah, fair enough. I just wanted to know what like a broken build did there. So we start at the root and say in components button.js. But I think, can you do a raw import like that? Does the web like raw imports like that, or is it mad about it? It's mad about the module thing. I thought we fixed that. But actually heard from Adam yesterday that that wasn't fixed. I need to log that as a bug. Type equals module. We'll just fix it ourselves. It's probably how people want it anyway. Does a raw import like that, I don't even know if that's the right word for it, work here? Is that like enough, or do I have to have a default import or whatever? And components card.js. I know there's no code in there yet, but we can fix that in short order. I think we can I'm just going to copy one that I have sitting around. So like card would be, no, not like that. Like this. Yeah, why are you making me mad? Can I paste from my paste app? Yeah, this is the kind of thing I had sitting around. So we're going to call it, I don't know. I don't want to call it Chris. DS feels like design system, I guess, but is weird feeling. And then we'll call this card component. Card component. And there'll be like a I don't know how to do this. There'll be like a div class equals card around it. Because we're just being cool. I don't even know if we'll get into props or attributes or anything. I just want to do the basic thing where the styles matter. And at the top, you can see it already kind of happening. Card component, connected callback. We don't need to be exotic here. But this is // so a relative import for card.css. And remember, it's not assert like everything on the entire internet tells you it is. It's with type CSS. And this is only going to work in Chromium, or however you want to call it, because it's not supported elsewhere. But hopefully demos like this will, become exciting for browsers to be like, hey, yeah, that is actually cool. That's my goal anyway. So if we were to load, so like what is sheet? If we go console.log sheet here, will we be able to see it? Oh, we will, which that is validating that these kind of bare imports are working. That's nice. I like that. It's like, I'm not going to use the name anyway. Just do the import, please. Cool. That means this got called, and a sheet is a CSS style sheet, which I think is called a constructible style sheet. Is that the right word for it? And then this slightly weird syntax where now that I have the thing, there's only limited things I can even do with sheet. I think I can probably attach it to the parent somehow, but there's a thing called adopted style sheets in the shadow root. And if I set it to an array for whatever reason of sheet, meaning it could take multiple sheets, which is okay. There's probably multiple things I can do here. If I give it the sheet, now the CSS is going to apply to the shadow root here. Right? I think so. So if we put .card, and .card has a border 1 pix solid black and padding of 1.5 rems, I need to actually use the card. So what is the card called? It's called a design system card, a DS card. In our HTML, that will just start working now, correct? DS card. And I'll just close it. And it's going to say my component. It's going to have a freaking 1 pixel border out around the outside of it. That worked better than I thought it was going to work, honestly. That's exactly what I want to see. I want to see co-located styles with relative imports to the CSS file. I want to see one line where I reference the CSS. I don't want to write. Somehow I'm okay with template literals for HTML in a web component. For some reason, maybe I should like it less, but it seems like that's more reasonable because there's a good chance that I'm going to want to go like title in here or whatever, and that'll be syntax highlighted okay, and that's kind of the purpose of a template literal in a way. Somehow I'm okay with that, but I don't love seeing CSS as a template literal. It feels like it's not syntax highlighted good. It feels like a bit of a just sucky way to do it. I just don't like it. I want CSS to just be a CSS file. I want it to look good in my GitHub diffs. I want it to like be obviously sensible in the architecture of the little app that I'm building. And honestly, it appeals to me from a CodePen perspective of like, this is nice to work on in CodePen now. It's just nice to look at and experience. So certainly we could do that. But I'm not sure that we even need to get there. But I wonder, can I use a button within a card if we scaffold that out quick too? Will that work with this type of layout? Like, even though I'm about to use button inside of card, they don't like import each other. They're only dealt with at the kind of a one level up from that. Let's just try it and see if it works. I have a feeling like this card might have to import button or something for that to work, but we'll just find out. So if we copy this and we make our button, so sheet is going to be from button.css this time, but otherwise it's going to be very similar. It's going to use a semantically appropriate button element, button, and this time it's a DS button, and it's a button component. Cool. Now we have a button. It will surely work here. So if we said DS button here, that's going to be fine. It's going to say button. It's tempting to like, how do you do it so that custom button text shows up? Because as soon as it's a shadow root, it's going to get wiped out by what's in there, right? Like, do you remember? So I'm not using lit or fast or anything here. I'm just going classic style. What would this have to turn into? Oh, it's supposed to be a slide. Is that what you're supposed to do, Dave? I was imagining having to go like document dot or like this dot inner text or something. Does that maybe work? No, but something like that, you know, where it like reaches out. We don't want to do that. We're just slot friends now. I admit I don't know that much about slot, but I do know that shadow root kind of, oh, wow, that was ridiculously nice. Wow. I didn't have to name the slot or anything. I'm sure I could name the slot. Wow. That worked better than I thought it was going to again. How are we feeling about this type of thing? Tab, tab, tab. Is that how people roll? Or would you suck it to the left like I had it before? Oh, no. That's nice, though. How would I name it if I wanted to name it? Do slots have a name or something? Button text? That won't matter, right? Or will it prevent it from working? Okay, don't do that. But how do I reference it here? Do I have to put like a span around it or something? Span. And then slot equals, is that how you do it? What did I call the slot? Button text. And that's going to go. I just don't need the span. But is it going to come in as a span or is it just going to pass the children in? No, it's going to put the whole span there. But whatever, it's just a span, right? So there's no way to do it with like a text node only. Yeah. Not that I really care. It's just curious, you know. I don't know. I prefer it unnamed. Sorry, span. We don't need you in this particular case. We just need the slot. All right. Well, I'm kind of a fan of slots now all of a sudden. But so it means there's like a translation layer between whatever you put in here and what gets rendered in the shadow DOM. Of course it is. I mean, that's just what it is. But it's almost like an API, you know? Like you could have a span that has a certain stuff in it, and you can have an image that has certain stuff in it, and you can have a div that has certain stuff in it, and hopefully whatever you put in here makes sense by itself in order and is accessible and all that in case the JavaScript doesn't load, but then it can magically transform into 10 times more markup than that if you wanted it to. That's neat. That's neat. And we get that only with Shadow DOM, right? Even though I believe I've complained about that in the past. When why Shadow DOM only? Isn't there declarative-y way to deal with that or something. Anyway, oh yeah, for a button, Dave's saying, I'll add it to the broadcast. Icon would be a common one. So for a button, I guess we could do that. Let's be fun about it. Because then we could have one unnamed and one named one. We could say span, and the name is icon. And so if we don't do anything at all in our button, we'd have a slot with a name of icon. And presumably nothing's going to change, right? Because we didn't provide you with an icon. But if we did put an icon there, I guess we could just put an emoji or something for now. Can you see my emoji picker? Oh, you can't. It's so weird how screen sharing works. I'll use the old purple heart or something. Why didn't that work good? That's just going to immediately slot in before the button text. Oh, that's very satisfying. Cool. And that would look the same, shadow DOM or not, because that would just render just like that. But I guess we could put the slot after, and now it's going to render differently than it would render. Ooh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Shouldn't it have picked up that icon and put it afterwards instead? Oh, it's a bug? That's a known bug? That's a pretty bad bug. So is it rendering... Is this rendering only the light DOM here and not the dark? I don't even understand it. Oh, slot equals icon. Slot. There it goes. So that's not really... I don't understand what the bug is then. Oh, I get it. It's my bug. It's not a browser bug. Cool. Good job. Fun. All right, so that's just proving that we can change what the light DOM is versus what the other DOM is. That's kind of fun. But what I was wondering is, can we use DS button in here now? Like in my component, can I make a DS button that says like view product or something? I'm thinking this is not going to work because it's not going to know what a DS button is. Oh, it does though. It does know what it is. Wow. Why am I impressed by that? It's like this JavaScript file it's almost like a render ordering thing that's confusing me or something. Like this is an independent JavaScript file that feels like it doesn't know what a DS button is. It just gets dropped into the HTML. But I guess when it gets, and then it's in a shadow root too. You know, like I don't really quite get why that works. We're defining it here. What if we change the order of these? Does that break it? Probably not. I don't think import order of things like that matters. Interesting. If we lazily import it, it probably breaks. So these just they're probably downloaded and executed immediately. And then by the time this is like executing, the browser already knows what a DS button is and thus handles it okay. But it somehow doesn't matter that it's in a shadow root. I don't know. I don't know that I totally get it, but I'm glad that it works, I guess. It would have been a foot gun if it didn't. It's kind of nice. All right, well, we didn't get very far with the styling of the button, but that's part of the beauty of this thing is that these are scoped style. This is like, I've really loosened my stance on shadow DOM-y stuff over time a bit, I think. And that, what do we have? We do need to give it a class, or do we? We don't need to give it a class, right? I can just write button in here and say background fog dog, color white, FO6, DO6. That's fog dog correctly. All right, so we've styled these buttons as orange. They need to be better though. Border, start, end, radius, 20 pixels. Just one random corner will be. Why? Just because I said so. All right. And this looks like very global CSS, and it's not, right? Because that's only for a DS button. It's only imported and used by that one component. If we have a button down here that's like Lonely Island button, it will not have those styles on it. Ugh. That is what we want to see, isn't it? Oh, my face is in the way, isn't it? I'm glad I look at that occasionally. Should I put myself over here? But then I don't appear as though I'm looking at the screen. I'll appear to be looking in the middle of nowhere. Should almost just move my camera. So wherever, when I'm looking at my screen, it looks like I'm looking down at the text and stuff. Yeah. I don't know if anybody cares, but I care at least a little bit. I think I have like a half cam. Look at that. Is that good? And then make it, then you have to see my face absolutely enormously. And then you can't see the code at all. I can go full. We could just mouth plug it only. I'll just explain what's happening. Left angle bracket, exclamation point, capital D, capital O. No, you're supposed to see me really small. Fine. I think we accomplished what we set out. I think this is really cool. This is what I want to see all day long, is this structure. And notice there's no build process at all. I say that, and of course CodePen runs a little tiny baby build process, but it's all CodePen is doing to help here is linking up your scripts and like cache busting and stuff. That will become more clear. Oh, is this here because I'm an admin? All right, well, sneak peeky kind of stuff here. I don't know if this is all not quite working, but we're going to give you a subdomain. The subdomain is a deployed version of your site. Obviously, it deployed in literally 0 seconds because it's just pointing a DNS record at the latest build for your thing and all that. So that's neat, right? Okay, oh, you have a deployed site now. Obviously, it's a pro feature. But what happens when you change style.css? Right? Well, like, what do you think happens? Well, a new copy of it goes out, but the URL's the same. And of course, we're serving cache headers because we're trying to save ourselves money and make your website faster. How do you break the cache on just that style.css file? Is it on you as a person? Well, that would be a pretty crappy app, isn't it? Which is like how all WordPress sites work in the entire world. And I always have to bring my own little build process just to break CSS cache. And I'm like, do I feel like the only person on earth that has this problem? Like, what is frick is happening here? Anyway, CodePen handles it nicely for you. You can see it in the preview, not so much in the build output, but a little bit. It's trying to say, like, if you processed the HTML here, what is the final HTML that this is rendering look like? That's what build output down here is. And you can see that there's not that much interesting in this pen because there's nothing being processed. There really is no build process going on. But if you look in here, there's one more little transformation that happens to built files before they're served. And it's like that. Your scripts are fingerprinted so that will not change if the content doesn't change of that file, meaning if browser cache is going to hold on to it just fine. It's true of your style.css and anything else in the kind of the tree of files that are served here, but are also served at what would be your deployed site. So it's the kind of the most efficient way in the world. There's not even e-tags or anything. It is straight up just a fingerprinted file. So that's part of the build process, whether you want it to be or not. It's just going to be good for you and good for us. And it's going to make sure that this preview is always correct, not showing you cached content and things like that. So when I say there's absolutely no build process, there's at least fingerprinting is happening. I guess it wouldn't if you don't link up anything, then we would skip doing that step. But no build process, meaning there's no like 11T processing these files. There's not even client-side frameworks like lit or fast in here doing anything. But we've still accomplished what looks like it would be like a little Vite setup or something. But there isn't. And I think the one thing that unlocks that, at least for me, is this. It's the stupid CSS module scripts. Used to be called import type assertions. You can assert for JSON too. And remember, it's not freaking assert anymore. I really need to write somebody at web.dev and be like, can you just change all these things? Because it's not assert anymore. It's with. Everybody needs to know that. Then this comes in as a constructible style sheet. If this was type equals JSON and this file was JSON, you'd get a object. You'd get like a pre-parsed JSON object, and it would throw if it was broken or something. That's nice. I think that's going to happen more and more. We're going to get more and more of these type assertions. And Chrome is the only thing it's supported in. So like, this is cool, but pretty busted in other browsers. So yeah, and if you want to use Vite, you certainly can. Even on CodePen now, and this is pretty early for us, but we do have a Vite server that's built into Vue. Maybe I'll make a new pen so I don't break this. This is my nice little demo. Editor pen. Yeah, Vue 3 and Vue 2. It's all we have for Vite now. I know Vite can do React and things too, or you can just use Vite and just do whatever you want with it. But this is it's pretty permissive version of Vite, meaning you just get a Vite config and you can just do Vite stuff in here. Now it's a little limited to pretty much what Vite can do out of the box, because you can't just import just any old package up here because it doesn't have like full NPM access to just get whatever for various reasons. But yeah, if you want to play with Vite and like not have it do Vue, that's fine. It's just we're trying to help you with Vue specifically at first, mostly because we already have a Vue editor on CodePen and we needed to convert pens over to this new system. So I want to make Vue particularly easy for you and give Vite a spin there. But you can certainly use Vite for a web component-y kind of setup if you'd like as well. It does process these files down into assets and stuff. So it's kind of SSR. So whatever Vite can do out of the box, you could do with a setup like this for now. What else was I going to say about this? Maybe something about packages, but I did already make clear that I was going to show you that, under your blocks, you can see, Vite is now part of the build process. I can drag this block around and it opens up this tab that just has information about Vite, including like while it's running, showing you what it's doing and things like that. The configuration's like, if you need to configure it, just go to your Vite config file. What I was going to show about that is it should have don't we give you this? We give you the basically the package.json that it has. So there's not very much in here. In a tight situation, we might like add stuff to this. If it turns out there was some Vite plugin that everybody in the world really needed, we could pre-install it into this block and make it available for use in your Vite config. But we're really trying not to do that because we want to get a little further in our package support situation such that you can control versions and stuff. If we just pre-installed something, you wouldn't really have the control that you'd probably want to have. So we have a little bit further to go in our package support, but our package support on the client has gotten really cool, I think. Like if I were to use lit in here, I could just import, define, I don't even know what you import from lit. It's probably some kind of HTML function and define or render or whatever it is. You'd pull that stuff out of lit. I guess we could just show you real quick because I'm already talking about it. And then I'll quit because I have to do some work too, unfortunately. Get started. If all we did in this thing was pull these two things from lit, and we were to convert this component to a lit component, just by virtue of me pulling these from a bare module specifier like that, you get a package.json with the current version of lit in it. Now you can change this if you want. If you want a different version of lit, we're just trying to help you out. Now it's in there. And it might be in an import map here too. It probably is. Did my camera freeze for a sec? There's now an import map at the top of this HTML file that pulls lit from esm.sh. You don't even have to care or think about that. It just does it automatically. And the browser won't even download it if you're not using it. I don't think we're using any of the functions in there, so it probably won't even bother to download it. That's just the power of the browser working for us, which is kind of neat. So that's how packages work pretty darn good on the client. It's just different when a block needs to run, which is in Node, which is just kind of a different runtime where there's no import maps. Dino is a little bit like that, but not quite. Anyway, we don't actually need it, so we won't save it in this particular thing. I think we can get rid of the package.json. It will forcibly put itself back if it thinks it needs it, but since we're not importing anything anymore, it doesn't need it. Anyway, we got pretty far there. I'd probably clean this demo up and have it look a little nicer, use a bunch of cards, a bunch of buttons kind of thing. But I think the point, if I were to write about this, I'm not sure if I will or not, but maybe I will, is to, gather excitement for CSS module scripts, mostly because I like this file structure. Anyway, I gotta run. Sounds like everybody else has to run too. It's a work day, apparently. So take care, be good. Nice to see you. Hopefully see you again tomorrow.